Hi everyone, this talk presents the paper Constrained Differential Evolution Optimization for Underwater Glider Path Planning in Sub-mesoscale Eddy Sampling. A corridor constraint optimization approach is presented to the underwater glider path planning, which is a new challenge for differential evolution (DE). This approach strives to obtain a trajectory for the glider being bound to a constrained feasible area. This area is defined as a corridor around the border of an ocean eddy, and the DE involves a simulated path of the ocean glider. The objective of the glider here in this paper is to sample the oceanographic variables more efficiently while now keeping a bounded trajectory. The research presented in this paper is important because it adds the ability to characterize the eddy structure within eddy's most interesting zone, which is also the hardest to sample due to its highly dynamic changes and instabilities.
This border region namely shows intense mixing of physical-chemical processes, which makes it a primary objective for oceanographers. Manual piloting of a glider within an eddy border is a very demanding task. In order to keep the vehicle inside the path limits, waypoints need to be changed at almost every surfacing due to the drifting induced by the ocean currents. Human pilots normally operate in reactive control mode, analyzing the result of the previous commands before deciding the next bearing to send to the glider, not relying on ocean models' predictions. Such an approach is valid for some applications, justified by the uncertainties of both forecasts and simulations. However, in the case of short-term dynamic scenarios as the one presented in this paper, operating with no pre-computed plan supposes a high risk of missing the sampling target. Additionally, other aspects like multiple vehicle coordination or mission robustness to communication failures benefit from automatic path planning. Utterly, an extension of the glider operational capabilities is obtained.
In order to prepare an algorithm for automatic path planning within constrained conditions and based on the demands, a set of DE mechanisms was configured in this paper where the violations of the conditions were quantified by integrating the outbounded trajectory parts. In the figure on the left, some glider path planning tasks from our previous base article in this journal are seen. There we planned trajectories within scenarios that have allowed arbitrary path solutions, not allowing to limit the trajectories areas. However, on the images in the right, in the newly prepared scenarios, which are also based on real gathered data, we are now able to constrain the trajectories at oceanic area, requiring a trajectory to be bound to a predefined eddy border. As finally can be seen from the map shown in the center, the new tested eddy borders were based on real observed scenarios throughout different months and different locations around Canary Islands. We have defined an algorithm for fitness computation and constraints violation based on how much the eddy border was successfully sampled, and the details can be found in the paper. For example, see the equations 29 and 31. Then we have compared our configured differential evolution algorithm with several combinations of mechanisms and also several other optimization algorithms. All the optimizers were compared on the yo-yo-like path traversal of a simulated glider based on real ocean currents data. This ocean currents data was obtained from the satellites in space. The outline of the optimization approach can be seen on the left side here, listing the DE mechanisms and the trajectory evaluation procedure. On the right side, basic papers on which this paper builds are listed. The initial underwater glider path planning with DE was published in this journal, the constraints handling approach was utilized as in a paper for energy scheduling, and the control parameter self-adaptation was based on the recent paper discussing the randomization aspects in DE. The last incorporated listed paper studied the use of population size reduction mechanisms. We have defined 28 new scenarios with different features, and the designed approach was able to rapidly converge on nearly all scenarios as seen in these graphs. The best configured DE significantly outperformed several others, while keeping a trajectory within the limits with 100% success rate in all physically feasible scenarios. We have also compared our algorithm with more optimizers like the different DE, PSO, CMA-AS and ABC variants, where our algorithm was seen to outperform all of these. We presented a new constraints handling approach to automatic underwater glider path planning with selecting proper DE configuration and comparing it to other optimizers. As seen, our solution outranked all other variants and was able to keep a trajectory within the border limits, also reaching perfect fitness in some scenarios. We also identified some next steps for future work, ranging from DE mechanisms to extending glider missions. Thank you for listening.